So you're looking to receive some crypto on your Ledger wallet and you think, hey, who can be bothered unlocking their Ledger? I'll just grab the receive address off a previous transaction from Ledger Live and just give that to someone and get them to send the crypto there. What could possibly go wrong? Well, actually quite a bit, and we're just going to look at that today. And if you haven't already done so, hit subscribe, and that way you can stay in the loop about content I make to help you to stay safe in the crypto space and help you to navigate your way in the crazy and often hostile landscape that is cryptocurrency. I was asked for help by someone who found themselves in a situation where they thought they'd withdrawn from Coinbase, their funds never appeared, but when they looked at the transaction, they could see that it had all gone through on Coinbase's end. And what they had done was basically go into Ledger Live, they'd found the last withdrawal from Coinbase, and they just copied the first address out of the list. But unfortunately for them, that was Coinbase's change address, not the address for their ledger. So when they used this address as the recipient address on Coinbase, rather than withdrawing their funds from Coinbase onto their Ledger wallet, they actually were just pretty much sending them back to Coinbase, though to an address that wasn't associated with their account. So the funds basically were lost to them. And in the end, they contacted Coinbase, and after several weeks of frustrating backwards and forwards emails, they finally had those funds credited back into their account. Where people have gotten themselves into trouble is they will just assume that the first address in the list of outputs belongs to them, which is not the case at all. Now, to be fair to Ledger, they actually do have this link here that says why multiple addresses. When you click on that link, it takes you to this doco on Ledger Live's website, and it gives you a good explanation and a short explanation about how change addresses work. And while it does mention down here that it isn't possible for you to know which one is actually your address out of the outputs, it doesn't really warn you in an obvious way of that unless you read the whole thing in detail. And again, for people who are perhaps unfamiliar with how this stuff works, it can be an easy detail to miss. In a similar way to how you can send an email to multiple people, you can actually send Bitcoin to a number of people as well. So when you look at a transaction in Bitcoin, there may be one output, there may be two, there may be dozens. If you're using Ledger Live, there is simply no consistent way to identify which of those addresses and outputs belongs to you. This behavior in Ledger Live is really different to what we see in Electrum, in that if you go into Electrum and open that same transaction, it'll actually highlight your address in green. Because there could be any number of outputs for a transaction. Likewise, in a Trezor wallet, for exactly the same wallet, it will actually show you, just in the transaction summary, the address of yours that was used to receive the funds. For any block explorer you use, if you look at the outputs of a given transaction, there's really no indication which one was yours and which one belongs to the person who sent you the funds. So there you go. This isn't meant to be a criticism of Ledger and their approach, but it's important to understand that there are multiple different design philosophies that are at play between different crypto wallets. And even now, there still isn't a huge amount of consistency in the way that outputs that belong to your wallet are highlighted versus outputs that might belong to other people, might be change addresses, might be something else. If you find yourself in the situation where you've sent money to someone else's change address, your first port of call is to contact the person who sent you the funds, but at the same time, without doing some fairly detailed analysis of transactions coming from a specific wallet, there's no easy way to prove that this address, for example, is actually the change address from the sender and not simply another address that was being sent at the same time. So you need to be really careful about making sure you select the right address to do a receive on, rather than just opening the last transaction and copying the one that is first. If you don't want to go unlocking your ledger all the time just to receive funds, there are a number of ways that you can have 2 or 3 different watch-only wallets that you can use on multiple devices to verify that you are in fact seeing the right one and that your desktop wallet hasn't been compromised. But again, the simplest and most reliable way to do this is to simply verify the receive address on your ledger every time. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. Hit like if you think that other people would find this video useful, and hit subscribe if you'd like to be kept in the loop about future content I make that helps people stay safe in the crypto space and to recover if they get into trouble. If you have any questions about this video or a topic that you'd like me to cover, just leave a reply.